Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel and welcome back for another boss guide. Now a few weeks ago I did a video covering the Dark Fae in Doom Tower, kind of what I thought was one of the easiest sort of teams to put together, just so that you can take control of the fight and not have kind of unnecessary losses. Today I want to continue the Doom Tower trend, but I want to talk about Agreth the Nether Spider. Now until probably a couple of months ago, I had an incredibly slow team for this. Unfortunately, unless you're using kind of max HP reset style champ tactics, this is going to be a bit of a slow boss, but I have done a bunch of takeovers where this boss seems to hold people back from progressing. It is a little bit tricky, but at the same time, trying to get your head around the mechanics is actually incredibly simple. So let's do it, let's put a team together and let's take this boss down. Guys, before we go ahead, just letting you know there is a new player promo link. It's going to be written in the pinned comment and the description of this video. It's going to get you off to a solid head start in raid with the likes of Elenaril, Fayne, Uugo and Tagoar as you level up your account. Here's what you need to do. You'll want to log out of Plarium and Play on your PC and uninstall the game. Click the link in the description and register with a brand new email address. Launch raid, complete your tutorial, go to your inbox and claim your first free champion. Like I say, this is a good one, you don't want to miss it. So when you open up the guide for taking this boss down, you're going to be met with a wall of text and you're going to keep seeing the word poison. That's kind of what this boss is all centered around. Basically, to summarize exactly how the fight goes, the round starts, 4 spiderlings spawn, they poison the heck out of you, they put counter attack on themselves, and you're just left there with your health just slowly chipping away until the boss essentially just smacks you. So we're going to break it into 3 things of what you need to do. Thing number 1 is you're going to need to somehow cleanse all those poisons off as quickly as possible. Number 2, you're going to want to maintain some form of healing and block debuffs, because if you've got that up, less poisons are just going to go your way. That's going to help you a lot. And the third thing is we need to essentially strip away the counter attack from the ads. Once those 3 things are done, we can kind of start the fight on a fair footing, at which point it is just a case of nuking it down. It's not too difficult, it's just a bit of a gear check. So let's work out how we're going to deal with those poisons. My favourite way to do this is to go to your champion filter, open up your vaults, go all the way down here to where it says other effects. We're going to click on positive and we're going to come down to remove debuffs. Now, as you'll see, a lot of champions remove debuffs and some of these champions are absolutely brilliant for this fight. We've got the likes of Elva who will remove all debuffs from all allies and then put out block debuffs. So we're kind of getting 2 in 1. Pythian does exactly the same thing on his A2. It's a cleanse of all debuffs plus puts out block debuffs. Plus there's extra passive healing. We could go down the Mithrala route if we just want to focus on the cleanse. We've got champions such as Freya that essentially do a cleanse plus block debuffs. So what you really want to do, ideally, is have a champion that does both things. So that's where legendaries are going to become very, very strong. But there are epic options that are going to help you in this as well. We have got Uugo, who on her A3 removes any heal reduction plus 1 more random debuff and then gives you a heal. That's a very solid skill, but it isn't getting rid of all of the poisons. I know it's got the heal, but it's an option if you're out of other ones. Another option, you've got Mausoleum Mage on the A3. It's basically a cleanse for your team. And on the A2, it does block debuffs. We've even got champions such as Doom Priest, who has a passive that basically removes 1 debuff at the beginning of every turn. All very cool, but as you can see, legendaries are kind of going to be the strongest bet here. A more interesting champ to consider is actually Inquisitor Shamael, because on his A1, he has a 50% chance, and this obviously books up to 75% chance, of decreasing a duration of a buff by 1 turn. When the fight starts, you're going to get covered in poisons. Due to his passive, he's going to essentially snap back, and you might get lucky and actually remove all of the counter attacks. It's not a guarantee, but it is quite a solid way of dealing with the mechanic. So we've got lots of choices. For the sake of this video, I'm actually going to roll with Pythian. One person I think I have to bring into the team today, just because he's so freaking cool, is actually going to be Donatello. He does have a cleanse. He doesn't bring block debuffs, but the cleanse is really handy, and he is also reducing skills, which means we can get round to those really solid skills a little bit quicker. So now we've got our support in place, we're going to need a way of handling the counter attacks. I personally really like using Wukong for something like this. Wukong's A3 essentially strips the buffs off of all enemies whilst smacking them and then gives them block buffs. Very, very handy in a boss like this, and the affinity is going to help in our favour. We've got the likes of someone like Michinaki who can remove all buffs. Another one we can consider who'll be very strong for this boss if you haven't got any of the epics is actually Madame Ceres. On her A3, removes all buffs from enemies and essentially replaces it with a decreased attack and a decreased defense. Very, very helpful. I am going to roll with Wukong for the sake of this video, but any kind of buff strip champion is now going to be your friend. And finally, we're going to need some DPS. Now, I really enjoy bringing Newt into this fight because obviously he's got his 30% HP hit, which is absolutely huge. Plus, we're bringing Donatello so we can cycle back to that hit as quickly as possible. You could be looking at 60% of the boss's HP done in a few seconds. That's really, really solid. For my team, I basically bring Newt and Marius because it's kind of doing the same thing. But all you're going to need for this is maybe 1 or 2 of your actual strongest DPS champs on your account. Like I say, this boss is a little bit of a gear check. You can do it slowly, but you then up the risk of something going wrong. So I'm just going to put our team together and then we are going to take down this boss. Right, here's the team that I'm going with. I actually opted to bring in Phoenix. I've done a video on him recently. He's just such a solid boss killer. The affinity all lines up very nicely. Let's go. So I'm just going to skip through the waves. We're not going to use any of our funky skills. I want to make sure that when we get to the boss, everyone's got absolutely everything that they need, ready to go, ready to take it down. So here we go. As you can see, we're covered in poisons thanks to the ads. The ads have counterattack on them, which means we really don't want to hit them. But first things first, let's get rid of all those nasty debuffs that are on us. We're going to do that with Donatello with his A3. So we're going to do that. We are now in the clear. We are no longer covered in poison. Now with Pythian or whoever your block debuffs is, I'm going to put that up. Now it's time for the ads. Now, like I say, I'm going to go with the sort of strip strategy. I'm going to take all of this away with Wukong. That's it. Plus nearly killed all the spiders in the process. Now my Wukong's in 9-piece Merciless, so that's why he got an extra turn. But the main thing is we got rid of all of the nasty stuff. So I'm just going to get rid of the rest of the spiderlings because don't like them. That's them gone. Now we can focus on actually doing damage to the boss. So I'm going to use Newt's A3. Big hit. 1, 2, 3. Lovely. Now we're going to move to Phoenix. Now for this, I'm actually going to open with his A3 because that's going to put decreased defense and decreased speed on the boss. We'll do that now. We got resisted on the defense, never mind. Now I'm going to reset everyone's skills with Donatello. Bring the skills down by 2 anyway. As you can see, even though we've got block debuffs on us, we are still getting poisons. It's just the way the mechanics of this fight works. But we are back with the cleanse and the block debuffs with Pythian, so we're going to do that. Wukong, I'm just going to hit any skill really. And then what we want to do is get back to Newt so that we can go 1, 2, 3. And as you can see, we're nearly there. Phoenix, just 2 big hits there. Not so big because there's no debuffs on the boss. This boss has a whole lot of HP. That's something you kind of got to watch out for. This is why I say it's a bit of a gear check. Essentially, this is the Newt show, as most bosses are. So we're just going to rinse, repeat. We're just going to cleanse ourselves, get some heals out on ourselves, keep chipping away at the boss. Hopefully get weaken out. That's going to help. That's going to help a lot, actually. We're going to go back in with the A3 because I just want to get that decreased defense. We didn't get it. Clearly, my Phoenix doesn't quite have the accuracy for this fight. That's okay. But now it's just a case of keep hitting until the boss goes down. Now, we might run into a scenario where this takes a little while and the boss spawns another 4 ads. It's not the end of the world. Just go back through the same motions, keep yourself protected until you can get back around to Newt and you can go 1, 2, 3, dead. It's actually an incredibly simple fight, but it's also very easy to just get overwhelmed with poisons. I would argue the best way to do this is to just prioritize the cleansing and the healing, because that's just going to be what saves you in the long run. DPS can just do their thing in the process. Just make sure you never actually hit the ads while they've got counterattack on them. For this reason, AoE style attack champions aren't always going to be your friend. When it does come to a team setup for something like this, just make sure with a champion like Newt, just turn off his A2 because that is essentially an AoE. Same with Phoenix, turn off his A2 because it's AoE. You just want to make sure you're only hitting the boss. The ads will go down passively, especially if you're using something like a Wukong or if you've brought in Madame Ceres. So let's look at the team that I'm currently using to bring this boss down, and this is just to make it very, very fast. We've got Pythian, which is, as we know, cleansing, healing, and also block debuffs. We've got Cardiel, who also brings a cleanse and block debuffs, but also an ally attack. I brought in Kaimar. Now you could still use Donatello, but my Kaimar is slow. So what it actually means is he goes last in the team, and that way we can just get through it in as few turns as possible without having to rely on waiting for him. I brought in Marius, who's actually filling the role of the buff stripper. His A2 actually removes buffs. That should be very, very helpful, but ultimately he's just going to blitz the spiders down, and then Newt is doing his max HP hit anyway. So I'm just going to chuck it on super raids. I will quickly show you the team setup. Round 1, basically everything that I need is off. Same for round 2. And then on round 3, everyone is just essentially prioritizing their ability to cleanse or do damage. So let's just roll the team. It doesn't take very long. As you'll see, we're going to blitz through the waves very, very quick. The revive on death mechanic is annoying, but Marius is awesome. We're going to basically just do it again. There we go. Last one down. And now I will take it off auto and we can see what's going to happen. We're going to get covered in bad stuff. There we go. But the first thing that's going to happen is Cardiel's going to cleanse. There we go. We are now protected. We're straight back in with Marius, who is essentially just going to strip the spiders and kill them. There we go. They're all dead. Newt's in for his hit. Kaimar's going to reset. We're going to just do it again, plus an ally attack. So as soon as it gets around to Marius, 1, 2, 3. Once we get to Newt, he is going to take the boss down. There we go. 17 turns. It's a lot better than trying to wait it out. So it is kind of that simple. It's much easier than Dark Fae in terms of the kind of champ requirements. There's a lot of options that you can choose from a team like this. Give it a go. It's actually quite good fun. Now, the last thing I should mention is why might you actually want to farm this boss? Because some rotations are obvious. Dark Fae, you need to farm it because you want lethal. For everything else, I would actually argue that Affinity Breaker is one of the best sets in the game. I've got a video coming out, either it's just come out or it's coming out soon, where we go over Uugo, and she's going to be in Affinity Breaker, so you'll see just how powerful that set can be. But yeah, try this boss out. Hopefully it's going to get you past it, because a lot of people are stuck on this boss, and I can see why. It is a chronic pain. You're also going to come up against this boss in the Cursed City, where you're not going to have all of your champions available. But just kind of use that, simple 3 things. Cleanse it, get rid of the counter attack, and then just nuke it. That's all you got to do. I hope this video helped. Please let me know in the comments how you're doing in Doom Tower and even in Cursed City bosses. I will see you on the next one.